حط راسك. اقعد على ركبيك يلا.
This is not a typical workshop. It is clandestine. In this tent, children are blindfolded, their hands are tied, and they are intimidated.
راسك على الخيمة.
Instructor Fadi, 30 years old.
They take them at night, tie them up, roughen them up. So we want them to experience the same thing so they're not traumatized when the Israeli military arrests them.
Bashar Mahmoud and the others are between the ages of 13 and 17. They've come here voluntarily, but they have to respect the rules.
ليش احنا ما بدنا يكون في تليفونات؟
اليهود مرات على الشبكات يسمعون شو بنحكي.
رح اعطيكم بعض الدروس اللي بدناش اياهم يعرفوهم. وهدول كمان هلا كمان شوي رح نطرهم من هون.
Our camera is the first one ever allowed to film this workshop, but for now it is not welcome. For 5 hours, Fadi gives advice to these young Palestinians, despite the risk that he may be arrested once again by the Israeli army.
اعتقل الاحتلال 12,000 طفل فلسطيني من سنة 2000. اللي بيلزم بحقه بالصمت هو دايما بيطلع وهو دايما بيطلع أقوى.
Refusing to speak, that's what Ahed Tamimi did. The 17-year-old blonde with blue eyes has become the symbol of resistance for many Palestinians. Fadi is showing them an unedited video of the young woman's interrogation. These sessions will go on for several hours. To help the young Palestinians stick it out, Fadi shares his trick.
I told them my mantra when I was young was, I am a revolution until victory. So whenever the soldier would ask me a question, I would remember that, say it in my head.
With the mantra in mind, they make a promise. Fadi has already trained 2,000 children. More than 200 have been arrested. All have remained silent and all have been released. Malak, who is 14, is the Palestinian teenager who has spent the most time in Israeli jails.
You know Hamdallah?
Yes.
He represents the Palestinian people. For now, he'll only show us his back, but when Palestine's liberated, he'll show us his face. There were surprise checks. They'd come into our cells in the middle of the night. They'd make us leave. They turned over our beds and knocked on the walls.
The Israeli military court sentenced her for trying to pass through a checkpoint with a knife. The young 14-year-old has refused to explain her actions. When you grow up on this side of the wall, especially in a refugee camp, attacking Israeli soldiers is sometimes seen as a positive thing to do.
The first time I was able to visit her, there was a glass divider between us. I wanted to take her in my arms, hear her pain, and break that glass.
Malak has been allowed just a few visits, 2 times, 45 minutes each, during 8 months in prison.
I needed my family. It's very hard to be jailed. I wouldn't wish it on anybody.
There are currently more than 300 Palestinian minors in Israeli jails, most for throwing rocks. It's a common situation in Hebron.
Good morning.
30 kilometers south of Jerusalem, 200,000 residents live in this city, 10% are Israelis.
You see these blue marks? This is where the Jews in Hebron can go.
Aviad is a former soldier in the Israel Defense Forces, or Tzahal. Now a reservist, he is part of the organization My Truth, which defends the values of the Israeli army. Today, he is responsible for making future recruits aware of the complexities of serving in this area.
The IDF is always reflecting on its operations. Are there mistakes? Yes, there are mistakes. Do you sometimes see soldiers misbehaving? Yes, they misbehave. This is a popular army.
These are heavy words for a future soldier, where doubts may creep in.
The Israeli army shoots only the terrorists. He doesn't shoot the civilians. It tries. It's hard when there are thousands of people in a very small place.
When you stand as a soldier and someone who is at the age of your little sister is throwing rocks at you, and you stand with a gun, you can't shoot him because he's only throwing rocks. But he's endangering your life as well and your friend's life.
The European Union and many NGOs are accusing the Israeli army of using disproportionate force, but Israel defends its actions.
16 years old with a Molotov bottle is a terror because it can kill people.
The Israeli army, which refused to respond to our requests for an interview, said that it would do everything possible to train these young people for future battles. But if there is one that it has, by its own admission, already lost, it's the one over public opinion.